Our meeting to order. Mr. Schaefer, if you would do the honors of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Just like to remind everyone here that this meeting is a public forum. It's being recorded both video and audio, and minutes are being taken. Any comments will become part of the public record. In this meeting, any persons who wish to speak before the board will need to come to the podium, as the recorder does not pick up back in the room. When you come to the podium, identify yourself by your name and your address. There is a time for public input for matters other than those on the agenda. And we'll get to that in just a moment. First, I would ask if there are any items to be brought for public recognition, and I would call upon Sheriff Terry Rowan.
All righty. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Terry Rowan, Sheriff's Office. One of the things that we realized just here a month or so ago was that we didn't have a chance to recognize Commissioner Schaefer's service to our dispatch center for, close to 18 years?
Yeah, 18 and a half.
18 and a half years. And so what we've done is we've put together a deal, and I'd like to present Mr. Schaefer with his retired sheriff's badge. So this badge has, it's specific to John because it has his DPSST number. I just wanted to thank you for your service to the Sheriff's Office. I'll give you that badge.
Terry.
Can I take a picture? It's a picture. I have a phone. That's awesome. So awesome.
Send that just for the share.
Awesome. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming over to that. That's really nice.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, appreciate that.
Are there any other awards, correspondence? Seeing none, we'll move to the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda?
No.
There are none.
Other than that, we will have make for sure that we will have item 12, the executive session.
Yes. We have minutes before us from November the 28th, December 5th, and December 19th. I presume everyone has read them. Is there a motion to acknowledge the minutes?
Second.
Seconded to acknowledge the minutes of November 28th, December 5, and December 19. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. At this time, we would ask if there's any public input, anyone who wishes to address the board on any matters that are not already listed on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll move to our agenda items. First item on the agenda is a hazardous waste collection event report. Gina Miller.
Morning, Commissioners. Thank you for this opportunity to come before you this morning to show you the wrap-up of the household hazardous collection event, waste collection event that we held in September 22 of 2018. With me today is Eric Clapton. He is our DEQ. No, not Clapton. Wow.
Eric Clapton,
I
play a
knew
little
I was going
song.
to do that. I knew I was going to do that. He's our DEQ representative from the local office, and he partnered with us very closely on this event. So he's here today to answer any questions you might have about the household hazardous waste and DEQ's participation in that. But we'll go ahead and just jump right in. So the event happened on September 22nd, 2018. This was a productive partnership between Umatilla County and the City of Pendleton that was funded by a grant from DEQ and cooperation with Clean Harbors, who was the contractor for handling the hazardous waste materials. Our committee of planning was a diverse group of individuals from agencies, from the community, solid waste advisory committee members, health department, and Klaus Hona, who is our city liaison, who has since retired, and that's why he's not here with us today, otherwise he would have been. So we started preparing for this event way back in April of 2018. It, believe it or not, takes a lot of prep work and laying the foundation for making sure that enough people are hearing about the event to make it worthwhile. So just a few of the things that we did was we all of the solid waste franchises, from Milton Free Water to the Tribes to Hermiston, Pendleton, all advertised on their statements and their newsletters to their customer base. We did radio interviews on the morning shows, coffee hour and whatnot, on the 2 stations that do the morning shows. There were articles in the East Oregonian, the tribal paper CUJ, and we had several columns on the My Columbia Basin website. In addition to the media, we made appearances at the Pendleton Farmers Market, Milton Free Water Farmers Market, and Athena Farmers Market, where we distributed some of the items I'll mention later in an attempt to get the word out. And then we attended several Rotary and Chamber of Commerce luncheons throughout the county to talk to their membership base about this event. In addition to that, we sent our flyers to all the churches in the county. Additionally, this year from our 2016 event, we added the element of having a prescription drug drop-off and sharps drop-off, which was conducted by the Umatilla County Health Department. So we sent flyers to all the pharmacies and doctors' offices and the hospitals in Umatilla County. And flyers were sent to schools, libraries, city and state county official offices. DEQ mailed, we got the membership lists from all of the Chamber of Commerce's from the large cities in the county, and DEQ mailed postcards to them, largely to advertise the event that happened the day before our event, which was a collection event that I'll talk about a little bit later. And then, of course, we worked through the Kiwanis groups, the Rotary groups, all civic groups and whatnot. One of our most effective advertising platforms this year was embracing media, social media, and we created a Facebook page for sharing reminders, answering questions, just hyping the event, which was really effective this year. So these are the flyers that we used in sending to all of those different groups and agencies that I just spoke about. This was about our event on Saturday, the household, which was free to the public. We also had an event on Friday related to ours, but more aimed at small business generators and agriculturalists, where we received pesticides and all sorts of chemicals and anything from copy toner, any materials associated with small businesses were brought in on Friday by appointment with Clean Harbors. And then this was the pharmacy flyer that we handed out and sent to all the hospitals, doctors' offices, and pharmacies in the county. This is an example of the postcard that DEQ provided and absorbed the cost of sending out to all of the Chamber of Commerce members from Pendleton, Hermiston, and Milton Free Water to get the word out. This was, again, mostly about the CEG agricultural event on Friday. This year we applied to and we received a Wild Horse Rapid Response Grant for $1,000, and with this money we bought refrigerator magnets that we passed out at the public events we attended and the lunches we attended, farmers markets. We had a booth at County Fair that we shared with emergency management. Again, just all in the hope of getting the word out. And then with this grant, we also purchased bright green T-shirts for our volunteers for twofold reasons: safety identification, being out there on the event day so that they could be easily seen and identified, because we had cars moving around the area and we wanted them to be safe, and also as a thank you for their service to the event and their community. So we move on to the big day, and pictures are provided by my husband, who spent the day down there with us, going around and getting all these great shots. We had a volunteer check-in desk where they put their name down, emergency contact information, and then they received their T-shirt. And Right after that, we held a volunteer briefing before the event began. And as you can see, the t-shirts are very bright and visible. And then Clean Harbors insisted that all of our volunteers also attend their safety briefing. Now, I would like to emphasize that our volunteers did not handle any of the hazardous waste materials. That was all done by Clean Harbor, who are trained professionals. But because they were in close proximity to them, and with the the chance of there might being a spill or whatnot, they wanted us, our volunteers, to be aware of the tactics in case there was a spill and what to do. And so we attended their safety briefings. So this is a map. We had it at the Pendleton Convention Center, and this is the map of how we designed the layout. Traffic would enter off of Westgate there at the Convention Center and move into the bright pink spot, which we had coned off as kind of a serpentine shape, with the idea of getting as many cars as possible off of Westgate, so we didn't leave any cars sitting out and causing a traffic hazard on Westgate. From there, they were moved into the sorting lanes, which is the bright orange spot, depending on what they were bringing in to deposit in the event and the size of the vehicle, large trucks and whatnot, and also if there was a special lane for if they had prescriptions to drop off. There they proceeded into the blue, which was the sorting area for Clean Harbor, and from there the exit out back to the back where an exit interview was conducted. So this is a picture of the serpentine where people were basically staged before they were sorted into the lanes. And then you can see our volunteers and our lanes that were created to help keep confusion down to a minimum. And again, as you can see, there's 2 sorting stations for cars up at the 2 white tents. The truck station is where that white truck was, and then over to the right there, just out of frame, was the prescription drop-off. This is the prescription drop-off. As you can see, we were supplied with a police officer because of the fact that we were taking in scheduled drugs, narcotics and whatnot, so there had to be a police presence there all day long, and the Pendleton Police Department generously donated the services of this officer to be with us for the entire event and help take the materials in. And then Mike Stensrud is with the County Health Department. He's the one that spearheaded this particular aspect of the collection event. And then once the event was over, then he took possession of the materials and saw that they were properly disposed of. So this is a picture of the offload areas. Again, this is an area where only Clean Harbor people were allowed to be in. The people who were bringing their cars in didn't even have to get out of their cars. It was we wanted to keep safety as a primary concern, and so all the people walking around there you see are safety Clean Harbors people offloading the vehicles out of their trunks, out of the whatever the case was. They had little carts they would bring out and offload the vehicles. So, and usually it took maybe 1 or 2 minutes, maybe a little bit longer if they had a lot of stuff. But they ran it very efficiently and professionally. So we were real glad to partner again with Clean Harbors this year. As you can see, there was lots of different things brought in. This is the sorting area. They had scientists, chemists on staff that if the material was not readily available to know what it was, they tested it to find out what it was and then put it in the appropriate container for safety reasons. So again, a very professional company to work with. And again, more materials. You can kind of get a picture from, or a size, scope of their operation, how much materials they bring in to conduct one of these events. The cost of them usually runs between $65,000 and $80,000, and that's the cost of the grant that DEQ gave to us to pay Clean Harbors for this event. Our volunteers, we were really happy to this year to partner with, we'd like to get the kids involved, the FFA and 4-H do community service, and so we had kids come all the way from Milton Freewater, the Mackay FFA and Pendleton FFA kids came down and helped us, which was great. Really appreciate the partnership of their chapters. Here's another couple of volunteers that were there that day. And as we go through these, you'll see that we've got cones, we've got candlesticks, We've got safety vests. All of those materials were donated, and I'll go through that here at the end. David Foe, who is a member of our Solid Waste Advisory Committee, and Dennis Olson, who I'm sure most of you know, who used to be our planning director, were the two gentlemen that ran the end station at the exit, and they did kind of an exit interview to talk with the people who were coming through, finding out where they had found out about this event, so that when we tallied all of that information, we could find out where our limited resources were best spent and how we can better effectively communicate and get the word out for next time we do this event. So that was a really great idea that they came up with. So the bottom line of the event that we held, there was 502 vehicles or households represented at the event. County Health took in 72 pounds of prescription meds for proper disposal, 38 gallons of sharps, which are needles used for medical purposes, were collected, and 24,000 pounds of household hazardous waste were collected for proper disposal and kept out of the landfills and waste stream, out of our watershed and the air and everything. So that was a really successful collection event. A few days after our event was over, I got a call from DEQ that this event had been the most successful collection event in the state of Oregon for 2018.
Wow.
We had the most people come through. We collected the most amount of household hazardous waste. So we succeeded and bypassed all our goals at this second event, and DEQ was pretty happy with us, as I'm sure Eric can assure them. We couldn't have done this without our partners. All of the solid waste franchises in Umatilla County, Pendleton Sanitary Disposal in Hermiston, Humbert's Refuse, the Tribes, and Eastern Oregon, which is in Pilot Rock, all contributed money to a fund that paid for our ability to have breakfast and lunch and snacks and beverages for our volunteers to make sure that they were well taken care of. So again, we couldn't have done this without their assistance. Additional resources, Arnie Sewer here in town, Arnie Swanson is a member of our Solid Waste Advisory Committee. He donated 2 porta potties and hand wash stations so that people and Clean Harbor had that facility available to them. The Pendleton Country Club donated 2 golf carts for staff to run around, because after walking thousands and thousands of steps in 2016, we decided that for communication and for saving staff's feet, that we got some carts to run around in, and actually it was kind of fun. Wild Horse Foundation, of course, for the grant that we received from them for our volunteers and advertising. Umatilla County Health Department lent us our tents for the volunteers to have a resting space. Their response trailer, in case we had any people that felt like they needed to lay down or just needed a break from things. They brought that down for us. Tom Roberts, thank you. Emergency management provided the safety vests for all the team leaders, walkie-talkies so that we could communicate effectively between all of the teams of volunteers, and of course the City of Pendleton for donating all of the traffic cones and candlesticks so that we could direct the traffic in an effective manner. And then they also absorbed the cost of printing all of our flyers for our advertising purposes. So we couldn't have done it without your support as well, the support of the planning department, letting me be available to do all the things I needed to do for during this time. And again, we thank you for your support.
Is that the man of the year?
That would be the man of the year, kissing babies, no less.
That was during the campaign.
That's not that's not hazardous waste.
No, that would be my granddaughter.
And it's not true that they take all the paint, mix it together, and give it to us to put on the walls here.
No, it goes to prisons, actually.
Okay.
So do you have any questions, commissioners?
I am very impressed with that. 24,000 pounds of hazardous waste. That's impressive.
It's an amazing amount.
Hey, 12
Congratulations.
tons.
Yes. That's an amazing amount. Thank you very much. A job very, very well done.
Thank you.
Next one is planned again for another one for next year.
No, we're going to skip a year. We found that keeps, the amount of people and time that it takes to put this on, we're more effective in doing it every 2 years.
Certainly
And
increases the amount of the drop-off,
Yes,
doesn't it?
and we let people know that so that they can anticipate and plan for 2020. And my friend from DEQ assures me that with our success rate, that we're a shoo-in for 2020's grant.
And that's what I was going to say here, and just take a minute. Without her help in organizing.
Please.
Identify.
Without her help in organizing,
Oh, you need to identify yourself.
oh, I'm Eric Clanton, DQ, sorry. But without Gina's help in organizing this event and then the rest of the committee providing the time, and the skill, and the effort, something like this wouldn't have gone off so well. So when I contacted her early in the year to look for numbers, to ask for money, to put in for a grant position over here, that was very helpful from everybody with the committee and everything doing that. It makes my job easier to argue for a position to do that here. So pretty much rest assured from the future on here, we're going to use the model that she has in place here, that Pendleton's used for the past 2 events, to better organize and make sure that we get this stuff here. There's lots of communities in the state that do the same thing, but have no organizational efforts of this magnitude. They don't bring in the numbers of the magnitude that we do and stuff. So it's something that's important, that if we can keep this all together, it'll help us in the future.
Very good.
Thank you, Gina.
Gina, a question. Did we get people coming in from all sectors of the county?
Yes, we did. We didn't count numbers this year. We will probably try to do that next time. But we did note that we had people that, just by personal, knowledge, I know that they came from other areas of the county. And so we reached out and got as much contact with, we didn't want to just focus on Pendleton. We tried to get the word out as best we could throughout the entire area. A lot of people from the tribe came out. They had a really effective communication with, they have their meetings and stuff, and it was brought up at all of their meetings. So, yeah, we had a lot of participation from tribal members.
Your outreach looked very effective.
Thank you.
For sure.
They're going to have me go and consult with other areas, so.
Sure.
I'd just like to take a point of privilege while land use planning is on display today. Call upon Bob Walter to introduce our newest employee to the audience while they're all here. Thank you, Gina.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Bob Walder, Planning Director. I'm pleased to introduce our newest employee. This is Elizabeth Ridley. She comes to us from Eastern Washington University. She has a planning degree from EWU and had an internship with the Spokane Transit Authority. So we're excited that she brings numerous skill sets to our department, and she is a native of Pendleton, so even better that she has ties to this area. We're excited about that. So welcome to Elizabeth, and we look forward to having her join our team. So thank you.
It's tradition, Elizabeth, to give a 15-minute overview.
Sorry.
No. She might. I know.
Thank you.
Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Before I go, I just want to, we had some extra magnets so you can see.
Thank you.
exactly what we did.
I have one on my refrigerator, actually, yeah.
Thank you very much.
She probably
Thank
would.
you all.
She probably
Next item on our agenda is the road vacation report. And it's not that our roads are taking a vacation.
Matt Kinney, Umatilla County Public Works. So today we have 2 different road vacation reports to discuss. The first I'm going to go over is for Tamarack Avenue and adjacent public road. This particular vacation is going to require a public hearing. So if the board would like me to go into the report details, I'd be happy to do so. Otherwise, that's something that I'll probably touch on at that later hearing date.
I think that would be sufficient.
Okay. So at this point, we just request that, or ask the board to set that public hearing date.
Do we have a date?
Identified a date.
Yes, it's in the board order. I think it's March 13th.
March 13.
I'd move accordingly.
Second.
Moved and seconded to set that meeting date for the hearing. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. Motion carries. And the other road vacation,
Yes, the second road vacation is for a piece of public road located southwest of Hermiston between Westland Road and Northwest Livestock Road. This particular road was dedicated in a partition plat, I believe in year 2000. There's 2 adjoining ownerships along this public road. Both are owned by Modelo's Trucking LLC. They're the petitioners, so there's 100% adjoining owner approval in this circumstance, so we can kind of bypass that public hearing process. Yeah, if we could just focus in on that, that'd be great. Thank you. So that image there, that exhibit details in red the approximate location of that public right-of-way. It's unnamed, but it's located Westland Road there on the west side and Northwest Livestock there on the east. The current ownership, as I said, is Modelo's Trucking. They own both those parcels north and south of this public right-of-way. If vacated, ownership shall revert back to tax lot 800, which is also known as parcel 3 of said partition plat, which is the southerly parcel there shown on that exhibit. Current property uses. The property is not currently being used and consists of open space, mostly in its natural state, with exception to a gravel access point for the truck dealership crossing the property at right angles near the east end. There'll be some photos to follow. The adjoining property to the north, as I said, is in operation as a truck and equipment dealership. Owners do not currently occupy the portion of the property proposed for vacation. The property has never been used as public right-of-way. Assessment of public interest. The subject property has never been used, as I said, for public access and utility purposes. Given the physical condition of the right-of-way, it would be an expensive endeavor to improve to current road standards. With Westland Road to the west and Northwest Livestock Road to the east, there is no practical reason to retain this public right-of-way, especially under the current zoning, which is light industrial. Vacation would benefit the public by returning about 0.6 of an acre back to the tax rolls and provide possibility for future expansion of the truck dealership. In addition, the location of the subject property does not meet current ODOT setback requirements from access points from an interstate overpass. That's an issue we've had with our southerly access point of Livestock Road, and the county and ODOT have future plans for reconfiguration of this area, and this public right-of-way just wouldn't be in conjunction with those plans. So at this point, the Public Works Department finds it to be in the public interest and recommends vacation as described on the petition. Again, with 100% adjoining owner approval, a public hearing is not required. And then to follow, there's a few photos just to give you an idea of what the current landscape looks like at that public right-of-way location. So that's standing at Westland Road looking east, and as you see in red there, that's the area proposed to be vacated. So not something that's currently being used. I believe Modelo's Trucking has some future plans for that property. So,
Matt, being a history major, just curiosity, how did that come to be a dedicated right-of-way in the first place?
You know, I'm not exactly sure of the history.
It had to do with planning in that area, land use planning. And the original intent was to have some development to the west, and then the realigned Livestock Road meet there, and that would be where the Livestock Road was. And so they'd meet there and have a four-way. Well, the development has not really materialized it. You may hear something about that in the next month or two. And then due to other development, the realigned Northwest Livestock Road will be to the north. And so there really wasn't any need for it.
Well, I was looking at it, and there's no place to go.
Yeah, originally
on either end of it. Yeah. It was interesting. I was just curiosity. Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
No, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve RD 2019-06.
Move to approve, adopt order RD 2019-06. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next item on our agenda is fingerprinting equipment. Is that going to be our sheriff or?
It's his staff that did most of the work on this, but Stern Holcomb has been integral in getting this moved forward. This originally came to the county because the state courts had been approached by the state to replace the two fingerprinting units at the courthouse here in Pendleton and the one at Stafford Hansel Center. The courts originally purchased the current ones through similar funding, but due to their time constraints, they were unable to get access to this funding opportunity. So they approached the county. The county could accommodate the timing, and so this is coming before the board for approval to basically enter into an agreement with the state to allow the funding and then authorize the 2 replacement purchases for the equipment. It's very similar to the current technology, but it does make things a little bit easier for the sheriff's office. I'm not sure how dated the current system is, but it is in need of replacement, and the funding is available. It is a match requirement, so there's a 10% match that the county will have to come up with, approximately $2,500 for each unit. So there is approximately up to $5,000 that the county will have to pay for this equipment. As is currently done, once it's purchased, the county will be required to maintain it. That's the way the current agreement is for the equipment.
Was it anticipated in the budget?
No.
No.
But first of all, I'd like to applaud Stern for all of her work because she did a lot of work on it. Roy Blaine contacted me, indicated we had this opportunity. I, in turn, visited with Robert, our CFO, who advised me that we could accommodate this, and so that's why it's come before you now.
Very good.
And Robert approved the $5,000.
Further discussion?
I make a motion we adopt order BCC 2019-009.
Been moved to adopt BCC 2019-009.
Second.
And seconded. Further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the appointment of the Compensation Review Committee.
This is coming before for the approval for the annual appointment for the Compensation Review Committee. 2 members are holdovers from the past 2 years, but 1 member was no longer able to do it, so George Anderson has been recommended for appointment for the 3rd person on the committee. The other 2 are Tracy Hamby and Scott Sager.
I made the contact with George Anderson, so I'll move for the adoption of BCC 2019-007.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt BCC 2019-007, appointing George Anderson, Tracy Hanby, and Scott Sager to the Compensation Review Committee. Further discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a Human Services position.
Good morning, Jennifer Blake, Human Resources. I'm here on behalf of Amy Ashton Williams this morning to request approval of an increase in FTE for Alfonso Martinez, who is the clinician who represents the Milton Freewater A&D office. And mostly, he does some A&D stuff, also some gambling counseling. So I can't remember how many years ago, but due to budget constraints, this position was reduced to 0.8. And in 17 and 18, clinicians typically had 30 to 40 clients on their caseload. Currently, Alfonso has 55 people on his caseload, and so the need to be able to serve the Milton Freewater area is to increase him back to 40 hours a week. Amy has spoke with finance and is assured that her current budget will cover the increase in order to do this. So this is before the board.
Is there fee revenue involved with this?
I would say there's no additional fee revenue.
Okay.
Oh, it's the next one I'm thinking of.
Because I know some of our services go charge a fee for certain services that are done, so I was just wondering if that perhaps even further offset the 0.2.
I suppose it's possible, but I don't know that it would be a lot.
It wasn't part of the discussion. I would say that's negligible.
Okay.
I think it's going to dramatically reduce the wait time, though, to get seen.
He is the single clinician in the Milton Free Water area.
Correct.
Okay, further discussion? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the modification of the clinician position to full-time. Further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. Next item is wolf deterrent payments.
I'll declare a conflict. Okay.
Okay, noted.
I went to this meeting, and I would like to thank the committee for their hard work. I mean, they had, it's nothing new. There was more money in asks than what was available, and the committee did a lot of work, and I was very impressed with the committee, very professional. So I would like to congratulate them on that. And I would also move to adopt BCC 2019-007 for payment.
I will second that. There's a motion to adopt order BCC 2019-007, authorizing $13,516.23 to be paid out for the wolf depredation. Further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Abstain.
Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is a public hearing for supplemental payments. We will commence the hearing and call it to order. We'll ask first for a staff report, and we'll ask for anyone speaking in favor, followed by those speaking opposed. Call for any comments from any public agencies, call for any rebuttal, close the hearing, deliberate, and decide. Mr. Paul.
Good morning, Commissioners. Robert Paul, CFO, Umatilla County. We have 6 supplemental budgets to consider this morning. Budget Order 2019-47, Public Health, the Home Visit Program requires a supplemental budget to appropriate funding not known at the adoption of the budget. This requires a decrease in state revenue of $95,000, an increase in federal revenue of $60,000, an increase in personnel services of $39,000, a decrease in materials and services of $35,999, and an increase in contingency of $38,001. Next, Budget Order 2019-48, Public Health Communicable Disease, requires a supplemental budget to appropriate funding not known at the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in local revenue of $5,200, an increase in state revenue of $16,916, an increase in personnel services of $11,716, and an increase in materials and services of $10,400. Next is Budget Order 2019-49, Public Health. The Health Department program requires a supplemental budget to appropriate funding not known at the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in local revenue of $10,000, an increase in state revenue of $81,680, an increase in personnel services of $53,453, and an increase in materials and services of $38,227. Next, Budget Order 2019-51, the STIF program. It requires a supplemental budget to appropriate funding not known at the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase of state revenue of $400,000 and an increase in materials and services of $400,000. And Budget Order 2019-53, Wellness Hubs, requires a supplemental budget to appropriate funding not known at the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in state revenue of $25,000 and an increase in materials and services of $25,000. And also 2019-54, the Environmental Health Septic Program requires a supplemental budget to appropriate funding not known at the adoption of the budget. This requires an increase in local revenue of $25,000 and an increase in materials and services of $25,000.
All right. Any further staff report on it? Pretty good report. Anybody wishing to speak in favor? Opposed? I don't think we have any public agencies that are going to comment today. There'll be no rebuttal. We'll close the hearing and move to deliberation. there any discussion on the part of the commissioners? Then we are ready for motions.
I think he's getting ready right over here.
You do the pleasure here.
That's supposed to be 54.
Okay, I'll make the change. Okay, I move for the adoption of BCC-47.
Second.
Move to approve Budget Order 2019-47. Discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion opposed? Motion carries.
I move for the adoption of BCC 2019-48.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt Budget Order 2019-48. Those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Move for the adoption of budget order number 2019-49.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt Budget Order 2019-49. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Let's make sure. I don't see 50.
That's,
That-
51.
there.
The
go
transfer.
to 51.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a skip.
I move for the adoption of budget order 2019-51.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt Budget Order 2019-51. Discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
5-2, the same thing.
That was
Move for the adoption of 2019-53.
carries. Moved for adoption of 2019-53.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Those discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye.
Move for the adoption of BCC
Carries.
What?
Motion carries.
Okay, sorry. Move for the adoption of budget order number 2019-54.
Second.
Moved seconded to adopt Budget Order 2019-54. Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries.
Those are the transfers.
These not been signed, no, not yet. Let's start on them there. Next item on our agenda is our budget transfers. Mr. Paul.
Yes, there are two budget transfers to consider this morning. Budget Order 2019-50, Public Health Immunizations, requires a transfer of appropriations for funding not known at the adoption of the budget. This requires a decrease in personnel services of $1,850 and an increase in materials and services of $1,850. And Budget Order 2019-52, the School-Based Health Center, requires a transfer of appropriations to appropriate funding not known at the adoption of the budget. This requires a decrease in personnel services of $1,583 and an increase in materials and services of $1,583.
Ready for a motion?
Ready for a motion.
Move for the adoption of budget order 2019-50.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt Budget Order 2019-50. Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Move for the adoption of budget order number 2019-52.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt Budget Order 2019-52. Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next item on our agenda is commute authorization, law enforcement.
This is coming before the board for their annual authorization to allow those county employees that use county vehicles to commute in. There are two different separate orders. The first one relates just strictly to law enforcement. There aren't any changes in the proposed positions that would be allowed to commute.
I move to adopt board order BCC 2019-005.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt budget order, to adopt order number BCC 2019-005. Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item is commute authorization for emergencies.
And so this is for non-law enforcement personnel, and it's primarily for those employees that need to be available to respond to emergencies. So it's, again, the same annual authorization for these employees. It's the same list as 2018. There weren't any changes proposed by the departments.
Move to adopt Board Order BCC 2019-006.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt BCC 2019-006, commute authorization employees responding to emergencies. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next on our agenda is a resolution in support of HB 2444, and I can speak to that a little bit. We received indication from Representative Barreto that he is introducing a bill, HB 2444, to support the education of FFA students, their education, their leadership training, support for some of the training that the educators that are required to do that. It's an area that I've seen lots of evidence that it is a very good program, FFA, and needs to continue to be supported and built strong, even stronger. In times when I've had opportunities to interview, mock interview type situations, they're very confident, they're very, very well spoken, very self-assured, and carry themselves very, very well. You can tell a difference between someone you're interviewing who's had FFA background and experience versus those who have not. It's very, very evident. Let me just take a moment to read the resolution. It says, whereas the intent of House Bill 2444 is to provide more funding into future Farmers of America programs around the state, to allow students to attend statewide and national events, and to fund advisors and teachers. Whereas goals of House Bill 2444 for the 2019 session are 1, to increase student achievement, 2, to remove barriers of participation, 3, to improve graduation rates, and 4, to provide college preparation and career placement for students enrolled in secondary agricultural education courses. Whereas the Umatilla County Board of Commissioners supports agricultural, science, and technical programs and FFA chapters that can be enhanced and expanded by providing statewide investment in critical areas. Now, therefore, the Board of Commissioners orders that it supports the passage of House Bill 2444 and its support of FFA programs, and authorizes the use of our name in support of the bill. That's the resolution. Is there any
I think it's
discussion?
important. Well, I'm a former state FFA officer, so I'm hardly neutral on the issue.
Not a conflict.
No conflict, but very, very supportive. But I think one thing, just a reminder, the other day when we had our management training, and there was a discussion of workforce issues, a discussion of work ethic, and all sorts of different approaches surrounding young people coming into the workforce. It was noted by one or more of the presenters that a notable exception to those concerns are individuals who have been involved in 4-H and FFA and have had that responsibility and that experience. And I think anything we can do, we probably don't view this as a workforce issue, but it is very much a workforce issue to augment and enhance FFA participation. So I would move for the adoption of BCC 2019-010.
I would second that.
Moved and seconded to adopt BCC 2019-010. Is there any further discussion?
The only thing I wanted to add to that was the East Oregonian ran an article January 31st. If you get a chance, that talks about it at length too. So I recommend looking at that. That's a good article. So.
Those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. At this point, we've reached the conclusion of our regular agenda. We will now enter into an executive session under ORS 192.660, 2A, B, and H. So I would ask that those who are
Should we go to the
not
conference room? Probably should.
to be here. Would ask that Jennifer, you stay for personnel.
I'd ask that we go to the conference room.
Okay. It's been moved that we recess to the conference room, or we will recess to the conference room. Don't need a motion for that. Let's get all the signatory stuff done here.